Hello my dears, and welcome back to the character reviews. Today I will be... Sorry, it's my dog. Today I will be reviewing a character from the Hobbit movies, Tauriel. Now, I know a lot of people do not like this character, for obvious reasons. Could you stop, please? Thank you. Sorry. Just let the dogs in. It's raining and they're so excited to be inside. Anyways. Tauriel was not a part of the original Hobbit book, or the Lord of the Rings series. So when she was introduced, a lot of hardcore fans just went berserk. Like, how dare you, Peter Jackson, for bringing this random character into this series? And to be honest, at first, I agreed with them. I didn't know why she was there. I didn't know why Peter Jackson had put her into the movies. And to me, she was just there as a Mary Sue, frankly. She was there to create tension between Keely and Legolas as a love interest for both of them. And she really offered nothing to the plot. That's what I thought, however. Going back through the movies and just re-watching them and rethinking them, I realized that maybe Peter Jackson had a reason for turning her into movies, and maybe that reason was this. In the Lord of the Rings series, Legolas finds Aragorn, but we're never given a reason why or how. We never find out why Legolas leaves the Greenwood to go find Aragorn. We're just introduced to this character that Legolas somehow met. Seeing as how Legolas had never been to Rivendell before the meeting of the ring, we don't really have all that connected. So we need a reason for Legolas to leave the Greenwood, or Mirkwood, whichever one you're more familiar with. By having Legolas in love with the female elf, which, if you actually bother to read elven lore, they're soulmates, so technically Tauriel will love him back, but that's just fickle. Or unimportant at the moment. Anyways, Legolas had an unrequited love. Until, spoilers, Keely's death, he holds on to the hope that Tauriel might love him back. But seeing her weep over the body of Keely, he realizes that she never loved him. And being in the same kingdom as her would prove very painful for him, which is why when we see him with his father, Thranduil, he says, I have to leave, I can't stay here, basically. Then Thranduil says there is a ranger to some direction, I forget which one, go find him. That's, to me, that's what makes the most sense as to why Tauriel was introduced. That, and throughout the whole Hobbit and Lord of the Rings series, we had seen that elves and dwarves don't get along, like, at all. Case in point, Thranduil Thorin, and Legolas and Gimli. They just don't get along, they hate each other, for lack of a better word. But by having an elf fall in love with a dwarf, and have that dwarf also fall in love with that same elf, maybe it was also to show that what was previously thought as impossible was actually possible. As Thranduil says, when Tauriel asks him, why does it hurt so much? Why do I feel like this? Why do I want it to go away and yet never want to forget it? He says, because it was real. Showing that just because the species, I don't like using that word, but I can't think of a better word at the moment, have bad blood between them, doesn't mean that two individuals of elven and dwarvish blood can't fall in love and be together. Now, obviously, Tauriel and Keely didn't end up together because Tolkien killed them off in the end. Which is stupid, but I'll do that later. But, you know, I think for Tauriel's reason for being there, yes, she wasn't part of the original trilogy, and yes, that does deduct some points for her on my end. But thinking over her as a character as a whole, I think she was actually necessary to the plot. Because, honestly, if I was in Peter Jackson's position, I would want to end the movies as he did. Faithful to the end of the book, and having Legolas go and find Aragorn, which is how we then can transition to The Lord of the Rings. But somewhere along the lines, reading back through, as I said before, we never given a answer or a story or even a vague sentence of we met at the Prancing Pony. Gosh, I can't talk this morning. We were never given anything like that. So Peter Jackson had to come up with something to make it so Legolas can't stay in the Greenwood and has to leave, but because he's just leaving and trying to forget about, he doesn't have an exact destination in mind, which is where Thranduil comes in and tells him, go find this person, which we find out to be Aragorn. So I think, and then just as a character, I really like Tauriel. Granted, I'm just a sucker for badass female characters, because frankly, there aren't enough of those. I'm sorry, but not in live action movies, at least. I mean, I can think of two. Tauriel and Black Widow. I mean, we need more, please. I think she definitely has some character depth to her, and seeing her conflict between staying faithful to her king, who has provided everything for her, and staying faithful to her heart, which is pining after Keeley, is a really deep and very, frankly, cool conflict to see. Because it shows, as I said before, just because there's bad blood between dwarves and elves doesn't mean that they can't start anew. So, I think, overall, my character review for her would be, and how would I put this? She's not a part of the original book, but she has become an integral part of the story. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. By the way, this character was suggested by Zoe Elf. I will leave her link to her profile down below. She's a phenomenal author and a wonderful person. If you have an account on Quotab, go follow her because she's awesome. Her stories are absolutely amazing. They're what inspired me to make this kind of... Frankly, she's what made this possible. So, go thank her for this if you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.